Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. If you guys like the content that I'm dropping, the direction that my channel was going in, I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share the videos with anybody else that you think may benefit from him. Alright. First things first, I want to apologize to y'all for not dropping a video yesterday. Basically I went and played basketball, and by the time I got back to my room, chopped it up with the wifey and with other people and did my errands and had something to eat. Boy, I was tired of shit, being totally honest, and I ain't have enough willpower to actually sit down and make this video, make my videos for yesterday. So my apologies for all you guys who are loyal supporters and were waiting like, yo man, we're like, dog, I thought he said he was gonna drop a video every day. My bad, I dropped the ball on that, but that's neither here nor there. But the fact that I failed with my own standard of dropping a video every day religiously, that's the reason why I want to make this topic for today entitled Bittersweet Idealism. Alright, so I'm basically going to talk about how I'm an idealistic person. I have a lot of things in my head where I think this is how it should be, but I'm going to talk about like some of the reasons why that's a bittersweet mentality to have. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. First things first, as an idealistic person, I know I set many goals. So this is something I've been doing my entire life. Anybody who knows me can go all the way back to when I was like 14, 15. I usually had some type of grand vision, some type of strategy on how I was going to live out some type of goal that was in my head, right? Or accomplish some type of goal. Now, the beauty of that is over my lifetime, I look back and I realize that there are so many things that I actually accomplished by having that mindset. And I also had a higher standard for myself, which usually pushes me past the level of mediocrity or average, where other people are content to just never read a book after high school. I make it my goal to read multiple books, and even now I've made up a goal in my head that I want to read at least 25 books a year. Or you take something like being clean. The average person might wash their car maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks or whatever, but a person like me, I wash my car almost like every day. Not going to the actual car wash and spending money to wash it, but I'm saying I always will have rags in the back, and I'll always spray my car with the little Armor All, wipe it down. Like I just have like a high standard for myself. Or if you take getting a haircut, for my military guys who are still in the service, we had to get a haircut at least once a week. And that was something I really, really enjoyed actually doing. I didn't ever find it to be a hindrance or an annoyance to basically stay fresh. And once I got out of the military, that was something I just kept as a useful habit. Now, what's one of the downsides, or what are some downsides to having that type of mentality as far as setting many goals? Well, it's harder to enjoy yourself. When you're an idealistic person who's always thinking about accomplishing some goals, it makes it really tough to fall back and actually enjoy life in the moment. That's something that even my wife has told me, like, why are you always so stressed out and thinking about the next move you want to make? Why not just be in the now and enjoy what's happening right in front of you? Smile, stop looking like a robot. You look like the Terminator. And she's right in many ways, because there's always some type of achievement in my head that I want to shoot for. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and sometimes it's necessary to just unwind and be in the moment, take life for what it's worth, and stop basically torturing myself, But this has always been something that I've had as an issue, because my mom even said when I came into this world, I was coming in clenched, like with my fists all balled up. And it's been said that my aunt used to have to like massage my hands and massage my feet to just get me to relax. So that's one of the downsides. You're like normally tense. Another thing is obviously like with the videos, what was my goal? It was to upload a video every single day, literally like 50 videos straight. I pretty much had a real strong streak. Then I broke the streak. You know what I mean? So now here I am starting back again, and I basically set myself up to fail with a very, very high bar. So you see how it like plays in tandem with each other? On one side, I uploaded so many videos in just a short time. But on the other side, damn, I failed because I missed out on yesterday. Or even maybe before I missed out, you know? I just didn't mention it. So you're almost guaranteed to fail when you're an idealistic person. Another reason why idealism is somewhat bittersweet. We'll talk about the sweet part first when it comes down to a non-conformist lifestyle. I pretty much don't live like the average person. The benefit being that I have personal freedom from societal expectations, and I also have satisfying results compared to the average person. So, what does the average person do? Let's take the university. They'll go to school, finish, let's say, their studies about 18 years old, high school, general education. Then they will have in their senior year taken the ACTs, ACTs and the SATs, and maybe even in their junior year they did some type of program. They might have done some extracurricular activities or joined clubs. All of these things making them a ideal college candidate. So they've pretty much been working themselves up to look good for a college that will accept them, right? Then they go to school from maybe 18 to about the age of, let's say, 23, 24, and they go on to start working their first real job as a young adult in their early 20s. But since I'm a nonconformist, like I already knew in high school that I was not going to go to school, and those are for reasons that aren't so necessary in this video, but I just knew I wasn't going to go. I rather wanted to work and gain the experience of being on my own at the age of 18. So look how I did it. Other people start working in their early 20s and now become independent. I became independent, and then when I was actually in my mid 20s, about 26, is when I was going to the university in Germany. And it was already paid for because I had joined the army and got the benefits via the Montgomery GI Bill, which basically paid me to go to the university. So I had no student debt or anything like that, and also had a big advantage compared to the other kids that were next to me that had no clue about how to be independent outside of the sphere of their parents' influence. So you see, like, I had more satisfying results by going marching to the beat of my own drum. Or another example would be, joining the military. That's another good example. Most people join like right after high school, so they're only 18. They ain't never had an apartment or been on their own or gained really any life experience. So they come in real young, and the army molds them into an adult, but they see the world from the perspective of a soldier. And even when they get out, they're somewhat sheltered because they never really truly gained any life experience before they took that leap. Me, I joined at 21. So I had already lived on my own place. I had already been out drinking alcohol, hanging out with friends, getting it popping. I had experiences with females, whether it be my first girlfriend or the times that I dated after her. So when I joined at 21, I can honestly see why they picked me as a leader, because I was a little bit more seasoned and mature than the average person who was only 18. But I was also young enough to, let's say, be able to keep up with them, if not beat them and everything. What is the negative of that, though? I feel like I'm always like an alien, and I always go against the grain. So whereas other people do stuff according to what society expects on down the line, I'm like somewhere different in a gray area. And sometimes I look back and I feel not necessarily remorseful, but I begin to wonder, what would it be like if I would have done this, that, and the third. So for example, the average person, what they do when they have kids, they're about in their mid-20s. They get married, settle down, have a kid, take a mortgage, get a house. So they gain all that experience. Me, I never took a mortgage on a house. I never really truly lived alone. I still don't have a kid. So all the things that other adults in my age would have already jumped into, I still have yet to learn. And it makes me just feel like an alien, I'm an American who lives in Germany and moved in with his girl, and now I'm contracting. Like, I'm doing everything kind of against the grain. So it makes me kind of feel lost in the sauce at sometimes. All right, what's another thing that's like bittersweet idealism? Introspection. I'm a person who's always looking inside to try to figure out the world outside. So the benefit of that is that I get personal growth and a very enhanced spirituality. Of course, my senses get stronger, my intuition begins to speak to me more, and I overall have like a different mindset compared to the average person. Uh, whereas they just go to, let's say, church, or they have external sources like mentors and things like that give them a view on life. I more look inside of myself to figure out my own inner mysteries, and I just apply that on the outside. So I get different results that overall kind of add to the last other 2 points. But the negatives is, by having this introspection, it almost makes you detached from people who are close that don't practice that same type of discipline, if you guys get what I mean. So case in point, you go to church all the time, but then I'm a person who just looks inward and figures out my own truth about the world. We're going to clash when it comes down to mindsets about how one should live, or where you're supposed to draw knowledge from inspirational sources. You go to church, for example, you listen to what the pastor has to say. I look inward, and then I start listening to leaders from the civil rights era. Like, I'm on a Sunday, you're at a church listening to a pastor's sermon. On a Sunday, I'm doing yoga, listening to Malcolm X's speech, where he's talking about ballot or the bullet. You see, so we're gonna go two totally different ways. Who's to say who's right or wrong? But I'm just saying that's somewhat of a negative if you look at how the average person rolls and how a person like me rolls. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting my knowledge from totally different sources. And then, not to mention that, but there's also the negative of traveling somewhat alone on your path to enlightenment. When you decide to look inward, you're going to realize that you have a different purpose in life, and your individual truth is different from everybody else's truth. You guys might be able to meet on middle ground, but for the most part, you're marching to the beat of your own drum. So that will make you feel very alone when you look at how other people are trying to ascend and reach enlightenment, because it's normally some type of group effort with them, but you're on your own. And last but not least, knowledge is another reason why idealism is somewhat bittersweet. It's sweet because you gain an understanding of the world and broaden your horizons. So for me, for example, once I got out of the military, I started doing a very, very intense search of all the things that have to do with occult, government, etymology, sociology, psychology. It's seriously like I just jumped down a rabbit hole with no ability to ever turn back to my previous way of thinking. It's like I shattered so many paradigms on the way. And what that's done is that's made me a person who can literally jump into any discussion and have probably a way different outlook than the majority of the people that are in that discussion. So it's cool, but on the other side, you have increased sorrow. Like, I battle with depression. I've basically had to go through cognitive dissonance and overcome that, which I will make a video about cognitive dissonance one day, like talking about what that is and how that affects many people. But basically knowing that all of my illusions were destroyed. Everything that I thought was true, I found out wasn't. So that makes you feel very lost as an individual, because it's like, damn, everything I thought was like this is really like that. So how do I accept this new information and go forward in life knowing that I've pretty much been fooled this whole time? And another thing that's somewhat bittersweet about knowledge is the more you start to learn and realize, it also is a reminder of all the things that you still don't know. You see what I mean? So I know that sounds kind of weird, but basically the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know and that you still need to learn. So it makes you almost feel like what you know is so minuscule compared to all the knowledge that's out there, and you'll never truly gain all of the knowledge. So it's humbling. The more you learn, almost like the more humble you are. So just notice, like, the ignorant person who thinks they know everything, they're pretty much shut off from that inevitable truth, is that there's so much knowledge out in this world, you'll never know everything. So if you're a know-it-all, you're somewhat of a dumbass, because you're refusing to look out for more information. So being an idealistic person has its perks, as you guys see. I mean, I listed everything pretty much in depth, and maybe you are an idealistic person as well, and you could add to the pros and cons. Maybe I missed something, probably I did, but feel free to, throw it in the comment section below. But yeah, that pretty much sums up this topic. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll holler at y'all in the next video.